the last video, we made sure this boat was waterproof. Lather the whole thing up with liquid nails. Absolutely no water intrusion. In this video, we're gonna make sure the bow is just as stable as the transom. Hey everybody, AJ here, and welcome back to the Eagle Ray channel where we do all things DIY electric boats. Marine motors, batteries, solar panels, you name it. If it's got volts and it's on a boat, you're in the right place. We're getting really close to the day we can take our project boat, the Yaktoon, back out on the water for hours at a time this time. And we really need this thing to be a stable platform because we have a whole bunch of motor tests and battery tests coming up soon on this channel. But this boat feels really rickety right now because, as you've seen in previous episodes, we tied the front end together with nothing but rope. Here's the thing though, I'm really tired of drilling holes in these kayaks. Waterproofing them was already a nightmare, so I kind of want to avoid any more of that if we can. So I need a way to attach the bow brackets to the deck without drilling any new holes. I just thought of this earlier today. I'm going to take some plastic that I got off of a trash can and I'm going to weld it to the kayak like this, and then I'm going to take another similar piece and lap weld it at an offset like that so that there's a little bit of a gap underneath this second one. If I do the same thing on the other side, then I have like a trapezoid shape in that gap. I can cut a trapezoidal piece of aluminum flat bar and it'll slide in there like a foot putting on a shoe. And I won't even need to bolt that in place because we have bolts in the back, and so as long as that's bolted to the deck, it'll just slot in and then we bolt back there and it won't be able to come out until we unbolt the back. So without further ado, let's build stuff. We've got a video coming up about the process of me learning how to weld for the first time, so we're not going to get into too much detail on that, but what we will do is use one of those snappy transitions that YouTubers always use to make things happen automatically. And it's not working. Hey, it worked. So this part is going to attach to the freeboard, and this part is going to bolt to the deck. Uh-oh. We're broken already. We had to scrub the launch again. The plastic bracket on the starboard kayak ripped right open. I think it was ripped the moment I put it in the truck. I just couldn't see it until I was beginning to unload at the launch ramp. So if I had put this thing on the water, the starboard kayak would have slipped right out the side. This is the damage we're dealing with. This is what I saw when we were on the launch ramp. This piece, also obviously not big enough. It just cracked right off. A few days ago, I spent all day welding those plastic brackets onto those kayaks, and now I'm gonna chop them right off. Such is life when you're a DIY guy. Just this first piece has me thoroughly convinced that now I need a press brake. I don't have much budget left to finish this version of the build, so I'm doing it the hard way with clamps. If the surface of the metal is too close to parallel to the clamp, then the clamp will just slip right off. But as soon as you get the bend far enough, then you can clamp on the perpendicular and it'll allow you to get to 90 degrees. I don't need a perfect 90 on here because they're all less than 90, but this one's on the way, this one hasn't even started yet. And then there were 4. Now it took me about 2.5 hours to bend this one into place. And it took me, by comparison, about 40 minutes total to weld all 3 of these. And I am just a complete beginner at welding. I learned how to do it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Still got a video series coming out soon to show what I went through when I was learning. Right now, the last thing we need to do is actually weld these to the original brackets on the front end of each kayak. We're gonna do one of those snappy jump cuts. Well, it worked for one bracket at least. The other one, I don't have time for tonight. It's almost midnight. I'm going to tackle the second bracket as soon as I wake up in the morning, and then hopefully we'll be able to get everything back on the boat and we'll be out on the water before noon. The brackets are a little bit too tight by a couple of millimeters. So they're pinching the kayaks in the front and preventing them from sliding all the way in by about 2 inches in the back. I'm gonna have to pry them open just a little bit. I think it was able to get in before because the brackets broke. Now the brackets are made of aluminum. They're not budging. So I'm gonna see if I can get you guys a good view of this without tipping the boat too far, guys. Check that out. Look at that. These things perform like champions. Look at it. It's gorgeous. The front end of this deck feels so stable. I can't even describe for you how amazing this deck feels. I'm doing my best to shake the boat around right now. And you guys can't really tell because I have the camera on a gimbal. What we had before, when this was just rope holding these, was these kayaks would fish around all over the place, and it really was a little bit scary to be anywhere near the front side. That is completely fixed because of this aluminum. It just feels great. So that's all we have time for in this video, but we are so close to calling this a complete project. The whole reason we started this build was so that we have a platform on which to start testing combinations of electric motors and batteries. And this boat is almost good to go for that, except the way it loads into my truck. Let's call it questionable. The new brackets made the beam just a few inches wider, and the kayaks were already kind of rubbing against the inside edges of my truck bed, so it doesn't exactly fit anymore. So next week we have one more build video before we get into battery and motor testing. This build video is going to be the 5th and final of the initial series, and in it we're going to make it easier to load up and deploy the boat. We're going to give it some custom ramps to get it into the truck in the first place, and we might even incorporate an electric winch. Like and subscribe so you don't miss it, and don't forget, on Sundays at 2 p.m. I'm giving away a Milwaukee angle grinder in our live stream right now as soon as I reach 1,000 subscribers. The rules are in the description, and as always, don't forget to set aside some time to get out on the water and enjoy yourself. Until then, boat safe and take care.